Hello and welcome back to E-commerce Uncovered. I'm your host, Matt Lady. Every week I talk to people that are way smarter than me, way more interesting, and have a lot of good e-commerce knowledge that they want to drop and share with you all. Today, this week, we have Bailee Cooper from Sharma Brands. She's a senior brand manager, but does a bunch of really cool different stuff. And she's here to talk all about brand launches. Bailee, how the hell are you? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. I'm great. How are you?
I'm amazing. I am pumped up. I didn't even need coffee apparently this morning. I just got all hype all of a sudden. Uh,
I love it.
yeah. So talk to me about brand launches and where do we even begin? What do brands get right? What do they get wrong? Where you guys do all sorts of services at Sharma Brands, from managing
Yeah.
to advising. But let's start with brand launches.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we have actually launched quite a few brands in the past year, which has been both incredibly exciting and incredibly stressful. Um, but one of the biggest key takeaways that we've gathered over the last few months is how important it is early on to establish your brand. And I know that sounds so simple and so like common sense, but we're in this we're kind of in this like space now where a lot of the products that are coming out are the same or they're very similar, and it's kind of like how I think about it like if you're buying water, are some people are gonna go for that smart water while some people are gonna go for the Dasani. And exactly, yeah. So so that's like the start, and I think in something that we've seen, um, a lot of brands kind of skip that step and they think that, oh, I've got a cool product, I've got cool branding, like aesthetically, and let's run Facebook ads. And so they just think that like running the Facebook ads is going to be the key. And no, you need to, Facebook ads are great for, acquiring customers and getting your name out there. But at the end of the day, if there's no full brand foundation to lean back on, no one's going to feel emotionally connected to you. No one's going to be interested in your brand because there is going to be one or two other brands that offer very similar products, but you need to make your experience and your messaging and your mission super unique and solid so that they have something that like they feel a part of. And it's hard. It's
Yes.
hard.
Yeah,
Um,
brand launches, brand foundations, hard. It's not easy. It's the
no,
probably the toughest part to get right.
yeah, yeah, and we were working on we were gonna launch an internal brand last year, and we tried to speed through that branding process, and it totally backfired. And like 2 months later, we're totally at the start, the what's the starting line. um and we've seen it with some clients too, like they don't take enough time to really build up that brand ethos and that connection to the customer, and then they're like, well, why isn't anyone buying us? And it's like, because XYZ is treating their customers so much better and giving them such a better experience. um so yeah, so it's a struggle, but when you nail it, it's it's great. And very helpful.
Yeah. So getting that foundation right, the messaging, the purpose, the story, the
And
product, all
yeah,
that.
it's all that. And like, also, you take kind of, and I'm all about the customer. I think that's where we're all moving toward anyway. Um, because at the end of the day, the people more likely to purchase from you are your past customers. And so some exercises that we do when we're launching a brand or helping a launch is we think, okay, your consumers. We have like a list of questions, anything from who would their alter ego be? What would they protest? What would they retweet on Twitter? What type of hotel do they stay in when they travel? What would their phone background be? And you just like all these like crazy like things about a person's life, and you just kind of start to mold that. And you're gonna start to see hopefully, if you're doing it right, you're gonna start to see commonalities and common themes, and that will help you shape your messaging and your branding because, at the end of the day, you're communicating to your customers, so you need to make sure that you fully understand their personas. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sweet. So gotta listen to them, gotta talk to them, and gotta think
Mhm.
beyond just the first purchase. Like
Right.
just a pretty obvious point, but and very simple, but I'm just gonna highlight it again, is that the people most likely to purchase from you are the past customers. We often
Mhm.
forget that, and people in the beginning stages do often forget that. They're just like, I want new
Right.
customers, I want no more people, I want more, instead of you could get
Right.
more from less people.
And that's one of, like, the easiest things, in my opinion, that a smaller brand can do is leverage those like, if every time, you make a sale, email that person directly. It could just a plain text email. Maybe you introduce yourself as the founder, you thank them for their purchase, tell them about who you are. That's like the easiest way to get someone to be like, "Oh my God, this is wow, what a great brand, what a great person behind this to take the time out of their day to write me this note." Um, and yeah, just like communicating with your customers, especially early on, is going to be huge because they're going to be the ones who are getting the first impression of your brand and your product. So you obviously want to hear that. And then we all know word of mouth is like the most effective, way to get around. So, um, you know, making making your brand something that people want to talk about, and I think early on, that's extremely important. And really making sure you're demonstrating who you guys are, what you're selling, and how important it is in your life and why you can benefit from it. Um, so yeah, see now I forgot why I started that sentence.
That's okay.
but yeah, it's all about yeah, just like you're saying, like the repeat customers. And in order to build that early on, you want to build that community, and that goes back to building your brand. Um, and yeah, really listening, asking questions, because they're going to be the ones that are really championing for you, um, moving forward. So yeah, thank them, ask them questions, get their feedback, all of that. And it makes them feel like a valuable part of the company too, which is cool. People love to give I was a social media manager my last gig. So I was doing a lot of, I talked to a lot of customers, and they loved the idea of being a part of, what's the next flavor going to be? What's, and it just feels more exclusive to them. Um, and then they end up posting so much more for you, you know? So yeah.
What you touched on again is the word of mouth, and it's it's so simple. It's old as time. It's
Mhm.
before Facebook, before the internet. It's just people talking to people,
Mhm.
and we trust and listen to people around us in our lives, and that's the same
Mhm.
on the internet. We value someone's opinion because they have a lot of followers and other people like them and they like their content or like the
Mhm.
way they say things. If we can if brand founders, early stage people, focus on making it easy for them to want to share and be
Mhm.
involved in the process and
Mhm.
give more than you take from them. So I
Mhm.
think that's all good stuff to get us started on a foundation. So if I'm listening, I've been listening to the show for a while. I'm like, oh, cool, this is neat. Maybe I want to start my own brand. Like, or maybe Bailee, there's a brand that you've always wanted to start. What are the
Mhm.
what are the pieces? What are the assets? What are the things you're
Mhm.
thinking about as you're getting ready for a brand launch? How much time do you
Yeah.
need? Like, what are you thinking
Ooh.
about?
You always need more time than you think, I've learned. Not necessarily your fault. It could be everyone else you're working with. Um, but so I would say, so when I first think of an idea, or when you first think of an idea, you obviously want to make sure that people are going to be interested in it. And so one way of doing that is comes through with landing pages. And for example, we've done them where it's kind of like a splash page, and um, we bring them, and so how do I want to explain this? So you go to the landing page, and basically it's going to say something like sign up. It'll give a little bit about the brand, but your brand isn't like launched yet, so you don't have that much information. So you just give like a little teaser, why it benefits, and then you might say like, join our wait list or sign up for our newsletter. Um, like sign up for a newsletter and you'll receive a free XYZ at launch, stuff like that. Um, and then starting to drive ads and like pushing ads out, directing to that landing page. And then you'll start to see if people start signing up and showing interest in it, then you might have something going on. And then, in that sense, once you realize like I got something, or and maybe you didn't even do the landing page strategy, maybe you're just I've heard so many people stories of just founders hearing from all corners of their life, you need to do this, you need to do this, and then they finally do it, so there's that too. Um, but to start, I mean, you have to there are there there are tons of different, you got to get your fulfillment set up, you got to get your packaging, um you want to figure out what I'm assuming most people listening are going to start out at DDC, um and retail comes later.
Hmm.
um but so yeah, figuring out your packaging, how that's going to look, how is the unboxing experience going to be, what's your customer service experience going to be like, um marketing, PR, brand collaborations, it's a whole, and so you start to phase it out. I mean, the first phase is, concepting the product and making sure, the design is useful and efficient and that kind of stuff. We really come in more once that's done, and the brand is now either we've come on in different places. We've come on when they've already had um like some sort of agency working with them, and then we come in and help optimize that and go the last month until launch. um but we help, yeah, so we'll look at your website, make sure that's optimized, your homepage is clear, your messaging is clear. You never want the person to have to really search for what you're selling.
Yes.
Um, and that's I mean, one of the biggest points with, web conversion is like you want it clear, concise, right there. So we help with that. And then you start to think about the overall experience. So like I said before, that's like packaging. Are you going to have what, and a lot of companies nowadays are thinking of eco-friendly. Is your packaging going to do that? Is it going to be custom boxes, custom tape? Are you going to have inserts? Like there's all that. And that's really important because that is the first time your customer interacts with your product and your brand in real life, most likely. um and that's why like people love um unboxings, because it's like you're meeting your friend for the first time, you're meeting that brand for the first time, and it's like they're welcoming you into their world, giving you a
Yes.
hug, and you want that to be a great experience. Like nothing is worse than receiving something you're so excited about, and then it either being damaged, or I don't, or even just like not a great experience.
Yeah.
You might be expecting something. Oh, I'm so excited to get this new water bottle. I don't know. I just looking around. Um, but And see, now I just lost my train of thought again.
But
But
you want to make sure that first experiences,
it's
first
really,
impressions mean everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you want to think about, okay, now that they've gotten the product, you want to think about what type of flows you're going to put them through afterwards. Um, and when I say flows, I'm thinking talking mostly email or SMS. Um, we see after, it's so easy for you to just, receive the order and, go on with your day, but the consumer has more to their journey, and it starts with, the introduction to the brand, but it really does start once they have it in their hands, because that's when they're going to use it and make their decision and form their opinion. So yeah, so that's like huge. Um, and then
So
other
that's the.
way,
I'm gonna jump in and recap real quick, and then
yes,
kind of,
please.
kind of get you onto the next phase here.
Yes.
So think about the entire experience as you're going. Uh, I keep bringing this up on a couple different episodes, but we are, as brand founders, owners, people working on brands, we're so close to the brand and product every
Mhm.
day. It's on our minds all the time. The customer,
Mhm.
especially new customers, they see the site, they saw an ad like for a few
Mhm.
seconds.
Mhm.
Clear, not clever. Just very
Mhm.
clear proposition what this is, who it's for, and why. Why me?
Mhm.
That's all amazing stuff. And then there's so many pieces: the landing
Yeah.
pages, the product, the packaging, the inserts. Lots of stuff there. All stuff to consider.
True.
Make a good first impression. You want a full on real hug. You don't want an awkward side hug at the end of
Right.
the first date, and it's like, that didn't go as well.
Yep.
Crap.
Yep.
Like that's you're screwed. They're not going to come back. You're not going to get a second date. You're not going to get a second purchase.
Right.
Um, so that's all good so far. So we have all those things in place. Like we're all ready. We
Mhm.
talked to Sharma Brands. We worked with whoever, and we're ready to go. Well,
Yeah.
how do you go about and what are the pieces involved for actually like day of launch or the night before launch, like night before
Mhm.
Christmas, right? Like what's the night
Yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
launch?
Oh, well, it is a lot of, QA, making sure that the site has every button's clicking and it's leading to where it's supposed to be. Every form is, if you have to submit your email, that gets registered correctly. That's like one of the biggest things. We do test orders, so make sure before, hopefully you're done with your website a few weeks before launch so that you have time to find these bugs and make these last minute changes. But you'll want to put in test orders to make sure that everything's hooked up correctly and that your customer will receive their order. Um, and yeah, it's just like a lot of tying up loose ends. We want to make sure, obviously, launching with press is great. So if you have any press lined up for launch day, making sure that that's all set, that the editor doesn't need anything further from your team, your PR team doesn't need anything, and expecting that. And then if you are getting press, you're gonna want to leverage that, um, and and then also obviously prepping your social strategy for launch um, is huge. So I would say that's
Yeah. Sorry to jump in, but when you
no.
say it was cool, when you get press, you have PR, you want to leverage that. How else can we think about reusing that or repurposing that or extending that press coverage rather than
Yeah,
just new brand launched and then it's like the one day and
yeah,
done? Like
right.
what do we do after that?
Yeah, so there are a few things. If you're hopefully your piece has a lot of good content and quotes. And something that we've seen actually work well in the ad space is pulling out those quotes. Maybe it's a sentence or two, and making a static with that quote and the publisher's logo, so you see that social proof. Um, and running that as ads or just as content, whether you're posting it on your feed, um, because that is, I always say like Instagram is like the new homepage. You're like breaking up. Can you hear me?
No,
Fine.
yeah, no, you're good.
Okay.
I can still hear you. With this, it'll be kind of funky sometimes if there's internet issues, but it'll still keep recording. So,
Okay. I just wanted to
uh,
make sure I wasn't
yeah, no,
frozen.
no, you're totally good.
Okay.
I just try to be super silent because usually I'm such an active listener. I'm like,
Oh no,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
all pixely.
oh, okay, yeah,
It
yeah.
was all pixely, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose you. Okay.
No, you're all good.
Um, okay. So back to PR,
Instagram is the new
um,
homepage.
Instagram. Oh yeah, Instagram is the new homepage. So I definitely recommend having all of your press living on your page, whether it's in a highlights and on feed, because when people do see those publications, it does give them some sort of credibility. It does give the brand credibility, and then really like using using that press to generate um interest in, like, I would use it for like partnerships, brand partnerships or influencers. If you have a great piece of content and you have this influencer that you really want to work with, um you know send them the piece of content. Say, I really think that you would, be interested in this. Would love to hear your thoughts, blah blah blah, stuff like that. um but just really amplifying. And then um if you get into roundups and stuff like that, that's just all evergreen content that you can repurpose. You can make, if you wanted to add, to your email flow, something about, your press hits, those go there too. So it's not just, you can repurpose that
Yep.
content in a few different ways.
Yeah, and I think that's just. I think I'm so glad that you kind of went into it more and gave some really good examples. Is that don't just one and done things with your brand. You don't have enough time and resources to
Right.
just do things once and then like forget about it. Just
Mm-hmm.
oh, that love that in the email flow. That someone's gonna see that and that's gonna push them over the edge versus a testimonial from some random customer
Mm-hmm.
potentially, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
love that. How do we go about brand launches? Uh, and then we have the brand launched, and it's after day
Mm-hmm.
one. We rousing success, whatever that means for you.
Right.
What are the next steps, or what are the next pieces, and what are you guys thinking about? Like, what are you advising founders on
Mm-hmm.
what to do next? What are you guys doing on your
Mm-hmm.
side? All that sort of stuff.
So a few things come to mind. First, when I'm just thinking of brands we've worked with. So if we start to think, after a few weeks, we want to start to test, maybe is pricing a barrier, for example? Is my beverage too expensive? So then we might think, okay, let's run three different tests. Maybe your variety pack is at 10% off here, 25% off here, 35% off here. Then we route it, target a bunch of different people and see which one, converts best. And if we see that people um, are converting a lot, if the 10% off is converting very highly, then we're like, okay, maybe pricing isn't a barrier. So doing that, and that goes with pricing. It could also go with messaging. I know I always use this example because I was so mind blown. When we launched Judy, which is an emergency preparedness kit and brand, their biggest thing was that all of these kits are assembled and designed by experts, whether the disaster management experts, um, weather, climate, meteorologists, like that type of stuff. We really thought that that was going to be the driver for the consumer to be like, oh, wow, it's okay. I can trust this. It was made by professionals. But after like I would say 2 months, I started to go into the comments, whether they were on Instagram or reviews on our site. And I started to notice no one was talking about the experts. No one was like, I feel so safe with this because I know it was made by people I can trust. It wasn't any of that. It was all about the organization of the kit because they're incredibly organized and labeled very well, and everything has its own spot. They were talking about the peace of mind it gives, just knowing that it's in the house in just in case. And so seeing this and over again, I mean, this wasn't just like one or two comments. This was a theme. And so I had to think, okay, maybe what's getting people to buy, and I mean, what is getting people to love Judy is this peace of mind aspect, this convenience, this organization. It's not as much as who put it together. And so then you go and you test that different messaging. Um, and so yeah, so that's what we do, and we'll start we'll start running offers. So we want to kind of see like what is the highest AOV we can, you know, squeeze out. So we might think like, let's do a special bundle. Let's do if there's merch with your product, stuff like that, and running those offers, and seeing how those
Sweet.
hit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's really cool. I'm gonna just bring up the messaging point again, and I think it's so good, and that's such a clear example that uh, it happens a lot for brands. Is
Hmm.
this expertise and research and science and the
Especially when you're
average?
you're involved in making
Yeah,
it, and
you're
you're like,
like,
oh my,
I have the best product,
and then
but
everyone else is like, what is
no one
that?
cares, and
Yeah.
and and like I don't know about no one cares, but it's more peace of mind, organized,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
that those
And when
things like it's like it's benefiting them. You're sharing,
exactly.
yeah,
Yep, and that's when you can look at that's like the biggest difference when you look at those two messaging angles is this one is product focused, and then the second one is customer focused. And clearly that is the one that resonates across the board. Um, so yeah, that's like huge in messaging.
yeah, yeah. Message clear over clever. So you start talking you just start talking about like offers and increasing AOV, and again for people average order value, we want to increase that because paid ads only continue to get more expensive and it costs more to acquire customers, and so the higher the AOV, the more you can spend and still keep profitability. Where do landing pages come into play with those offers versus just product page testing?
Yeah, so the the cool thing about landing pages is that it's essentially like a microsite, is how I think about it. And when I come across an offer, so say it's like get 25% off the variety pack. I've never seen this company before. I don't know anything about it. If I was just brought strictly to the product page, okay, I know what the product is, but I'm not getting that full brand experience. And I then am more inclined to start clicking around the website to learn more. And then I'm clicked off the product page. And so now I'm distracted, and there's a good chance that I'm gonna, get distracted by something in the house, or I'm gonna just like forget about it. Whereas and get distracted, and I'll get into like a rabbit hole of like the story, and then, oh, but I heard about this brand and that. But having a landing page, the point is you don't want to drive the consumer anywhere else. Everything they need to know is on this page. And and it's like whether it's well the way we structure it is, you have your deal or your offer, whatever it is, and it should very closely match the ad that is driving to the landing page, because nothing's more annoying than clicking on something and it not being what you. So, sorry, I thought someone was coming in. So you click on the ad, it brings you to the landing page. So you want your hero to be that offer and a picture, a photo of the product, and then you immediately want to get into why the consumer needs this. Why is this benefiting you? And whereas a product page doesn't really do that. Like me, they are getting they're getting better, but a lot of times it's just a simple description of the product, maybe how it works, the ingredients, and then you're kind of like on your own to figure out how it's really benefiting you. So if you're giving the consumer that right up front, um, that's a really good way for them to decide, oh, I need this in my life. Um, and then you want to put the offer right there on the table. Um, and then after that, you would so that's like the most important part. Three sections of the landing page is your hero, obviously above the fold, because we know a lot of people just drop off right away. So you want to make sure that that copy is really enticing and your visuals are beautiful. Um, and then you really hit your main value props right off the bat. And then hopefully at that point, your consumer with the mix of the ad that they were served and this landing page, if maybe they're convinced to buy now. If they're not, let's give them some more information. So then that's where you get into, I mean, you can do anything from comparison charts. Some brands love to just fully call out their competitor and compare. And that's a really great tool because it's very easy to digest and stuff. So yeah, making sure that you clearly, you know, convey why and how you're different than your competitors is a huge advantage. You want to make sure that you have, so sometimes you can't launch with reviews necessarily, um, but if you can gather some reviews from whether they're like Instagram DMs or anything that you can just manually put up on your landing page to show some social proof and some more. And the same goes with press quotes and press bars. And um, I would recommend putting one of these, whether it's like a fantastic review from a real person, or maybe it's just a press bar with a bunch of logos. Having that toward the top, whether it's right after the hero or just right below the shop section, is also pretty key because that builds credibility. Um, but basically, the rest of the landing page is just to give the fluff. I think about it kind of like how news articles are written, where they have the most important pieces of information at the top. It's exactly what the reader wants to know. And then if you want to learn more and be convinced and you need a little bit more persuasion, convincing, whatever. Um, that's where this extra content comes in. So sometimes a brand story is really a really big part of that is the founder story. So you might want to highlight the founder story on this page. So you're really bringing in all the different aspects of your brand onto this. It's like a one sheeter. Um, and that way, you're not losing the consumer to another page. Everything is right here. It's very easy to navigate and you're just more likely to get that conversion with all of this information right where it is. You're not it's Nick loves to use this expression of like you want to be like walking your customer down the red carpet. Like you don't want them to have to do any work. And that's really the premise of landing pages is like you're not doing any work. You just click onto it and you start to read. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's I'm gonna jump in there now too. That's excellent. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to go search. The
Mhm.
really good point about the comparison tables. You don't want to make them go Google the like this versus this.
Exactly.
Just give it to them there.
Yep. And especially because what happens when they start to Google and then maybe they find a competitor, you want to just give it to them straight right there. Definitely.
Yeah, I love that one. That's and again calling back to near the beginning of the we were talking is the press repurposing the press quotes on the
Mm-hmm.
landing page.
Oh yeah, on the landing page. Yep.
Yeah, that was great. And then it's all in one spot that we can scroll on our phones. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
there, right? Like that's really important. It's mobile friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and the hero at the top is just
Mm-hmm.
clear. They know exactly what they're getting into, and it matches. And think as a media buyer, I thank you for the ad to landing page experience being on
Yep.
point. It's so true.
Yep.
Okay, so then what if things are going well and
Mm-hmm.
and things going well meaning there's sales, there's increase, there's growth, you're ordering more on
Mm-hmm.
your next purchase order, you're getting more inventory. At what point do you start to think about other products, or is it other channels? Like
Yeah.
how do you guys start to think about what's next? Like is it depending on the brand founder? Yeah. Would love
Yeah,
to
I mean,
talk about that.
yeah, I guess it depends on, yeah, I guess per brand it's pretty different. But as far as like food and beverage goes, or we'll start with beverage, like pushing new flavors is definitely something that you want to keep top of mind. Because people are just gonna be like, oh, they only have two flavors. Like there's no novelty to that, and there's no reason for them to keep coming back. Um, so if you're in, yeah, food and beverage, I would definitely always in the back of my head keep that in mind. And I mean that is how your business is going to grow. You're going to add more SKUs, more flavors, stuff like that. And then, um, like in terms of, I'll use Judy for
Sure.
example. We had started with the emergency kits, but we realized that there's more can be done in the emergency space. And one idea was a generator, like a portable generator. And I mean that took over a year to even, concept and stuff. But I think it was seeing a mix of the reactions from the consumers about peace of mind. Also hearing, listen to your customers. A lot of people, for example, like, lose power, whether it's a storm or maybe like, someone, you know, crashed into the telephone pole and it knocked down. Things happen randomly and they happen unexpectedly. And going with that theme and that message, shaping your products to fit in with that and fit in with that lifestyle. And so yeah, that was like launching the power station. They also launched, some feedback was, bigger kits. So they launched like a 6-person kit. So yeah, it's really listening to your customers, getting a good pulse on how everything's going, how are you want to make sure that your first few new products are like exciting and good. Um, so yeah, I guess it just depends on where you are at and what your goals are as the company at the end of the day.
Definitely.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all good. That was a kind of a open-ended question, and I like where you took it. Especially, I just want to point out like the flavors, yeah, of beverage. Like it's good. Maybe someone really likes Olipop, this one flavor, and
Mhm.
they just have it for 2 years straight. But like
Mhm.
more people, more commonly than not, people like variety. They like changing things
Yeah.
up and having multiple options. So
Mhm.
how do we then kind of? I guess that's a good. It leads me to my next thing, and again, we're gonna start landing the plane, slowing down. Next couple questions here, but how do we then with new flavors that come out? Do you have a separate new product launch strategy, or is it pretty similar to new brand launches, and you kind of just use different pieces of the puzzle?
It's a good question. Um, well, no, I think it's its own strategy. Incorporate. Uh, I've never been asked that before. That's a good one. Um,
It's all good.
yeah, I know. I don't know. I guess I just think of launches in a very similar. I mean, you you've already launched the brand, so at
Hmm.
this point, you've gotten your messaging down and all of that down. Um, so I would say, yeah, you want to focus now. Okay, this is a new product. Is this going to perform on a better on a different channel? Um, is this something, is this a new something where we can target a new audience? Maybe we can target moms with this. And yeah, look to see if your audience differs from your other SKUs and your other products. Um,
Yeah,
and just keep building on that,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And like I said, like I've been saying this whole time, really listen to the customer. Um, but yeah, and with new product launches, utilize past partnerships that you've had that have done well. You know, if there's an influencer ambassador that really resonates with your brand and has really loves working with you, like leverage that, and stuff like that.
yeah. Sweet. So treat it like a mini brand launch. You're not doing everything all over again, but
Right.
still concept of hype and like testing and getting it
Yeah,
all
and you
ready.
might need to, and then, you might need to complete maybe your packaging, maybe, you're launching a new product and not a new flavor, and so you need to rework how it's boxed. So yeah, so depending on all of those details, there are different steps. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. How do we reward past customers? There's so many times, and I'm partially guilty of this as a media buyer. Like we've
Hmm.
so much focus on acquisition, new customers, acquisition. Here's a discount code. Here's 20. Here's 30. Take the
Hmm.
product for free. Like we just want to get you
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
door.
literally.
But it's like how do we? I think not brand launches, new product launches, new flavor launches are an interesting, really good opportunity to reward your past customers. But how? What are some ways uh, that we can do that? Like, is it like through email, through SMS, through social? How have you guys gotten people involved?
Yeah, yeah, I would say email and SMS definitely came to mind first. Those are, and even that a lot of companies have found success with Facebook groups, or any type of community where it's a little bit more exclusive. And in those forums, you can post, like something fun to do would be if if Olipop's launching their next flavor, maybe all subscribers get an 24-hour early access to the brand new product. Yeah, maybe we make a link that is only accessible if you click the link and
Yeah,
and you share it with them. So making sure that they um giving that like exclusivity um aspect to it makes the consumer feel part of your brand, and like in the know. And that's always fun. No one likes
yeah,
FOMO.
yeah. You're
Um,
causing FOMO from the other people by giving them these
exactly.
other people exclusivity.
Right, right. So yeah, and then every now and then you'll figure out your flows, but you want to be marketing more. Your emails should not only be discounts and offers. They should be There should be content surrounding your brand. I'll use a Judy example again. Their emails are fire. Highly recommend subscribing to them. Um, but they'll go into, it's, National Preparedness Month, it's hurricane season, and it's not as much pushing the product where it's educating the customer, and keeping that open conversation and that dialogue is really important. Another example is Three Ships Beauty has a great email flow. After I received my product, I got nine, and I know that sounds like a lot, nine emails afterwards. I think it was nine. 9 does sound like a lot. But each one was catered to a specific either step in the routine or about like every email I found value in. And as a consumer, I appreciated that. No one likes to just be thrown a million discounts, especially when you've already bought from them. So yeah, so giving those exclusive, sneak peeks, um, whether you're offering, a special discount, um, stuff like that. And then and if you can, thank your consumers, thank your customers. One thing that I did as a social media manager when people would DM in or like tag us in a story, I would DM them back a video of me saying, "Hey, thank you so much for posting. Like, we're so excited you love it. Like, blah blah blah." And that's another thing that like people like, "Oh, they acknowledged me. Yes, like we're friends." Like people felt like they were friends with the social, like
Hmm.
brand's profile. Um, and that was another way of acknowledging them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great social strategy. Just try to make internet friends. Just try to
Yeah.
go from stranger to friend.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. So, and Three Ships is a great example. I've seen all those on Twitter. I haven't gotten my own
Mhm.
skincare routine yet from them, but uh, someday. So, and it's really important you mentioned is like they didn't the 9 emails or whatever it is wasn't discounts, wasn't buy this more stuff. It was just
Right.
educating and story and really
Mhm.
like tailored content to you and
Mhm.
like
And
right.
also, and when I got, and now this I just remembered when I received the package, I also got an SMS message, and it was like the delivery confirmation, but then it was like, "Hey, it's Lily from Three Ships. We're so excited for your new order. If you have absolutely any questions about, how to apply it, what time of day to use it, like, and they give you a whole bunch of examples, like, please, text us back and we'll help you right away." And that was also something where I was like, "Oh, okay, like, I'm not a skincare expert, but I have 3 ships there if I
Text
have
away.
questions."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And um the last thing I'll mention about what you just recently said was the video like DM replies and like those quick messages, like things that don't scale, especially in the early days. You just should probably do stuff like that. It goes a
Yep.
long way. It adds up. It's a potential
Mhm.
lifelong customer
Yeah,
for
totally.
potentially a minute of your time.
Yeah. No, I have friends, launching an app, it's called Pepper, and they're in that stage right now where they were responding to every single person who has posted and, like, saying thank you and whatever, but now it's becoming a little bit too, because they were doing it and it worked. It started to scale, and so now they're like, "This is a little overwhelming," but you need to put in that extra effort to make the customer feel seen in order for them to want to reciprocate that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's yes, that you get that the whole point is it doesn't scale. And you get to a point
Mhm.
where you can use other tactics, other channels, hire other people, bring more people on and get more resources. So I think that's a great way to wrap up. And Bailey, I want to really thank you for your time. Where can people learn more about you, the work you guys do, what they want to follow up with you, and like your Twitter famousness?
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, twitter.com/Bailee Cooper, Bailee. Same with Instagram, sharmabrands.com. Hopefully we're gonna get a facelift on that website soon, but in the meantime, you can learn a bit more about us there. Um, yeah, follow us on Instagram at Sharma Brands, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate your time and talking all about brand launches and listening to your customers. So, thank you. And everyone else for listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.